This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to show you how to buy and store Bitcoin the right way. I've made a few videos like this in the past, but it's been probably 6 or 12 months, so I wanted to make the most up-to-date version of this. I should say from the outset that I'm not being paid or otherwise compensated in any way by the companies that I mention in this video. I'm just a customer of them, like anywhere else, and I do this in order to remain completely objective. So the most important principle to remember when you're buying Bitcoin, and a lot of people still don't get this, especially newcomers to the space, is not your keys, not your coins. Not your keys, not your coins. And what this means is that if you have to ask for someone's permission to move your Bitcoin, then you don't control your own private keys. This is one way. People are always asking me, well, do I control my own private keys? And if you have to click something on the website, get permission from the company to move your Bitcoin, as you do with Coinbase, for example, you do not control your own private keys. When you do hold your own private keys, and I'm going to show you how to do that, you can sign off on a transaction, and then you're actually in control. So the most important thing to remember is when you buy your Bitcoin, don't leave it where you bought it. Don't leave it on the crypto exchange where you bought it. Don't leave it inside the app where you bought it. Don't leave it on Coinbase, PayPal, Cash App, BlockFi, Gemini, Kraken, any of these exchanges. Before you buy your Bitcoin using any service, be sure to make sure that they will allow you to withdraw the Bitcoin. So for example, right now, you cannot buy Bitcoin on Robinhood and withdraw it. The only way to exit your position is to actually sell it. And this has really hurt a lot of people in the last year who wanted to move their Bitcoin, but it had appreciated a lot. And so when you sell your Bitcoin, at least in the US, you need to pay capital gains taxes, and then you end up with less money to buy back in. So this is a real problem. It looks like Robinhood may soon enable crypto wallets for the first time. I'm not a huge fan of Robinhood, so I would suggest using another service. But right now, if you buy your Bitcoin on Robinhood, you're going to be in big trouble because you won't be able to move it off of Robinhood. So here's the plan. This is what we're going to do. We're going to buy Bitcoin using the Strike app, and I'm going to show you where you can find that, how you can download it. And then after we buy the Bitcoin, we're going to withdraw it and hold it on a hardware wallet called a Trezor. Now, why do you hold it on a hardware wallet? A hardware wallet is not connected to the internet directly. It's something you plug into a USB port on your computer, and it's what's called a cold wallet or cold storage. You may have heard this term. What this means is it's not directly connected to the internet. If you have a hot wallet on your phone or on your browser, there's nothing wrong with that for small amounts of money. You can think of a hot wallet as something like the amount of money you would carry in your wallet or in your purse, maybe a few $100s at the most. But you're probably not walking around with a lot more than that. And this is the same thing. Our hardware wallet is where you can store Bitcoin for the long term as a hodler. A hardware wallet does not store your Bitcoin. It actually stores and holds your private keys. Your private keys are a very long number that would be impossible for most people to memorize, and it'd be very prone to mistakes. And so instead, a hardware wallet is a solution for storing your private keys. Now, your ownership of Bitcoin is just an entry on this open global ledger that we call the Bitcoin blockchain. And the way you own Bitcoin is you actually control the private keys for that Bitcoin. So if, for example, you share your private keys or your recovery seed, which we're going to talk about, if you share your private keys with someone, they can take your Bitcoin. They can move it to an address that they control. So it's very important to hold your own private keys. If you buy Bitcoin on Coinbase and leave it there, Coinbase controls your private keys. And as such, you are reliant on them giving you access to your Bitcoin when you want it. If the US government comes along and says you're a bad person and tells Coinbase to freeze your account, it doesn't matter that you own this amazing decentralized cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. You will not be able to move it because Coinbase controls your private keys. So the whole point of Bitcoin is to become your own bank, to regain your financial sovereignty and not be dependent on large companies like Coinbase or Kraken or Gemini. Now, as I said, owning Bitcoin means that you hold the private keys and can move it around, can send it. You can move your Bitcoin to another address that you control, or you can send it to someone else in exchange for goods and services, which we often call spending. People sometimes are confused by this. When you send your Bitcoin, it can be sending it to yourself, or it can be a form of spending if you send it to a merchant or send it to a friend or someone else in exchange for goods and services. So we're going to be using the Strike app. I'll link to it below. It's just strike.me. This will eventually be rolled out everywhere. I believe right now it's mostly just available in the US. Nice thing about this app, it's run by, first of all, the company's run by a good guy, Jack Mallers, who's a real Bitcoiner, doesn't waste his time with the other cryptocurrencies. And they also have very, very low fees, very low commissions. So if you go to the download page here, you can see you can download for iOS, Android, and also Chrome. And just to make it easy for the purposes of recording this video, I'm going to be using the Chrome browser extension. And so let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's buy some Bitcoin. I'm going to do it against the backdrop of Clark Moody's Bitcoin dashboard. We can see the price here is about 61,260 as I'm recording this. And I want to have the price up here so I can show you the spread that Strike is taking. So again, I've already downloaded the Strike extension right here. I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to click on the Bitcoin tab at the bottom. This will take me to this page. I've already added cash. What happens when you download this app? This is a KYC app, obviously. You'll need to give them your name, and you'll need to also link it to a bank account, maybe link it to your checking account, and then you can move some dollars or some cash, some fiat cash into this and use it to buy Bitcoin. I just did a small $10 test transaction here, and I'm going to show you how it works. So what we do if we want to buy some Bitcoin, we first add the money. So you'll go to this account right here where it says this little person here. You'll link your checking account. You'll move whatever amount of money over that you want to move. And then once you have the dollars or the euros sitting inside the Strike app, we'll just click buy. I moved over $1,000. I already bought $10 worth of Bitcoin, so I'm just going to buy the remainder. We can see here that the price that they're quoting me is 61,371. We're paying a small spread above the sort of the open market price of Bitcoin. So instead of paying a commission, we pay a small spread. I believe it's about 30 basis points, about 1/3 of 1%. We can see here that the price on Clark Moody's dashboard is 61,270. This is 61,370. So we're paying about $100 more per Bitcoin. This is one of the ways that Strike makes money. So then we just click confirm. Exchange is expired. So let's refresh, get the new price, 61,384. Click confirm, and we have now bought this amount of Bitcoin, 0.016 at $61,384.80 per Bitcoin. So I now have $1,000, roughly $1,000, sitting in my Strike app. So then the next step is to move this to a hardware wallet. So instead of using the Strike app, I could have bought this using Coinbase. I like Coinbase Pro because the commissions are much lower than Coinbase. We could have used Kraken or Gemini or anything like that, but I chose to do this. But the principle is going to be the same. If you buy your Bitcoin on Cash App or on Coinbase or on any exchange that lets you withdraw it, you'll be following the same procedure. So now we need to get a hardware wallet. I just ordered my Blockstream Jade wallet. It hasn't come yet, so I'm going to be using a different hardware wallet. But I think this is probably, and I'm saying this not having tested it yet, but it's getting just rave reviews. I really like Blockstream as a company. So if I were doing this over, I would use a Blockstream Jade hardware wallet for this. Almost certainly. I'll make another video once my Jade wallet arrives in the mail. And again, this is a hardware wallet. It's a piece of hardware. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So Blockstream's Jade would be my first choice. My second choice would probably be something like Trezor. I don't like Ledger as much because it's their firmware is closed source, and so there could be some backdoors or something on there at some point that we don't want. The nice thing about Trezor, the software is all open source. The firmware is open source, and so you have lots of sets of eyes all around the world watching it to make sure that Trezor isn't trying any funny business. So this is Trezor. The important thing to remember, no matter which hardware wallet you end up buying, never buy a used hardware wallet. Don't try to save any money on this. Never buy a hardware wallet from anywhere except the company's website. Some people have asked me, can you buy it from the company on Amazon? It's probably okay. I personally prefer to go directly to the company. The fewer middlemen involved, it's much better for your privacy, and it's a way of also reducing the risk that your hardware wallet has been compromised in some way. If you buy a used hardware wallet, there's a good chance that or there's a reasonable chance that someone will have inserted some bad hardware or malware, firmware on there, and they could use that to take your Bitcoin. Once someone knows your recovery seed, as we said, or your private key, they can take your Bitcoin. So all you need to do if you're a criminal is you insert some malware on a used hardware wallet. You send it out to someone you give them a really good deal on it. They put their Bitcoin on it. You send a little alert to yourself and you move it. Again, that's criminal activity, not recommending it. But this is why you want to buy a brand new hardware wallet. So Trezor currently offers two kinds of hardware wallets. There's the Trezor 1 and the Trezor Model T. Trezor 1 currently retails for $63, 53 euros. This one is pretty good. I prefer the more expensive one. It's not going to fit into everyone's budget. I like the Trezor Model T just because it's a little easier on my eyes. It's got a nice screen here. It's currently about $195, 164 euros. The other advantage of the Blockstream Jade is I think it's about $50 if I remember correctly. And so that's another real advantage to that. But if you want to go with Trezor, you can do the Trezor Model 1 or the Trezor Model T. You buy it, you have it shipped to your house, or maybe you have it shipped to a more anonymous location. And then I'm going to show you what you do once you get your Trezor. You go to trezor.io once you get it in the mail. You open it up, you make sure that the seal on it, there'll be kind of a holographic seal over one of the ports. You want to make sure that that's there to make sure it hasn't been tampered with. And you'll click right here where it says, I already own a Trezor. And then what I do is I go up here to Trezor Suite for web in the upper right-hand corner here. I don't really want to download the desktop app because I think it's somewhat unnecessary. So I'll click right here. And what will happen then is, again, my Trezor is connected to my USB port. I'm going to set up the Trezor. This shows that I have firmware already installed on this Trezor. If you buy a brand new Trezor, it should not have any firmware installed. This is basically an old Trezor that I wiped, and I'm using it to reset it up. For the purposes of this video, so you're going to probably, almost certainly, when you plug in your Trezor, you're going to need to let it update the system, download the latest firmware. And if it doesn't let you do this, if it doesn't suggest that you do this, or if there's already firmware on that, on your Trezor, it could mean that it's been compromised. So you'll definitely be wanting to download the firmware. Okay, so I'm going to click now Set Up Trezor. Again, my Trezor is plugged in to the USB port on the back of my desktop. As we said, this already has the firmware installed. You will probably be downloading it. I'll just click Continue. And then we're going to create a new wallet. A Recover wallet is used for your recovery seed. If you want to, if your previous hardware wallet's been lost or destroyed, you can use this option to enter your 12 or 24 words and add your private keys to your new hardware wallet. But we're going to just, for the purposes of this video, create a new wallet. I'm going to use a standard seed backup rather than Shamir. This is a huge rabbit hole one could go down. I believe a standard seed backup is just fine. So now I have to confirm it on the device itself. On my Trezor hardware wallet, on the screen right now, it says, do you want to create a new wallet? And so I'll click the green check mark, which you can't really see from your end because it's on my wallet. Okay, I click that. And now it says my wallet is almost ready. Now, what you're going to want to do is create a backup. This is 12 or 24 seed words, depending on the model of your Trezor, and that will be a backup of your private keys. That's very, very important to do, especially if you're going to hold any significant amount of Bitcoin on your Trezor. I'm not going to do it right now because all it would do is it's going to expose 12 or 24 words to the world. I'll have to cover those up and edit the video. If you have someone's recovery seed, you control their Bitcoin and you can move it. So I'm going to skip this step, but I think it's very important that you do it, because if you don't do this and your wallet is destroyed or lost, your Bitcoin will be gone. Your private keys will have disappeared along with your hardware wallet. So make sure you do create a backup. I'm going to skip that right now. Click Skip Backup. You should also set a PIN to your, this is basically a PIN that locks the front screen of your Trezor. I'm going to skip that right now, but that's something you can do. It's just one more security layer. You just have to make sure that if you're going to be passing this on to your descendants or heirs, that they know what your PIN is so they can get access. If you forget your PIN, you have something like 15 or 20 tries to re-enter it before the device wipes itself. So definitely set a PIN that you can remember, maybe a common PIN that's used in your family. So we're going to skip this right now, but you should definitely set a PIN, skip PIN, and now you can activate which coins you want. Obviously, you don't want to hold any of these things. I'm just leaving this as a Bitcoin only wallet. So then I click complete setup, and then I can add a name right here to my wallet. I'll just call it Matt's Trezor. Then click edit name, and that name will then show up on this screen of my Trezor. So right now it's asking me to confirm on the hardware device itself, and I just did that. Okay, now I can click on Access Suite, and I'm going to click a standard wallet. You can also have a hidden wallet on here, which adds a custom phrase to your recovery seed. This gets a little more complicated. It's one more thing to remember. If someone gets hold of your wallet, they won't be able to access this hidden wallet without knowing the passphrase. But for now, I'm just going to do a standard wallet. I think this is plenty. So now we can see I've got this dashboard here. It's called Matt's Wallet, Matt's Trezor. I've got dashboard and accounts. And so the next step is obviously up here. I should have created a backup. We know that. I'm going to go to accounts, and I'm going to click receive because I'm going to move some Bitcoin onto my wallet. So I'm going to click right here. I'm going to show the full address. I'm not going to do a backup. And this is going to be the receiving address that I'm going to receive the Bitcoin at. I have to confirm on my Trezor device. And now all I do is I go down here and I click copy address. I go back to the Strike app up here, and I go to the Bitcoin tab, and I'm now going to send that Bitcoin to the public address that's associated with my hardware wallet. So I click right here. I'm just going to paste that address in. I'm going to click the maximum amount. This is the address down here. I will probably blank this out for the purposes of the video, but you can see it begins with BC1. This is the address of this hardware wallet. I click confirm, and now the Bitcoin is being sent from the Strike app to my hardware wallet. It may take up to 1 hour to process. The nice thing is Strike pays for all of the fees. It may also show up sooner than that. So if we go back, we can see whether it's shown up here. We'll come back to this in a minute and see whether it's shown up. In the meantime, I want to talk to you a little bit about KYC. So when you open up a Strike account, you have to give them your name, your social security number, all your personal information. This is required by the government. And there's a lot of downsides to this. The real way that Bitcoin was meant to be used was meant to be used completely anonymously. Right now it's pseudonymous. You don't have to give your name on the Bitcoin blockchain, but what chain analysis and data analytical firms can do is they can take a look at the on-chain movement of coins, and then they can try to link it to a real-world identity. And so really the best way, what I've shown you in this video, is how to buy Bitcoin using a KYC method. Now these Bitcoin are going to be linked to your name in the sense that Strike knows that you bought them. I don't know if Strike sells this data, but if this data were to ever get out, there would be a link on the chain if someone could correlate your personal information with the address and the movement of your Bitcoin. They might be able to figure out how much Bitcoin you own, at least how much Bitcoin you took from Strike and moved into cold storage. That's why I think it's also important to buy some anonymous non-KYC Bitcoin. This is not, I would imagine this is not legal in all jurisdictions. KYC is just know your customer, I should say, where they have to collect all this personal information. But there are ways to buy Bitcoin non-KYC or anonymously. It's not something I really want to post on YouTube. You have to make sure that it's okay in your jurisdiction. Now, the downside to buying Bitcoin anonymously is you usually have to pay a higher price. You usually cannot buy as much. And so if you want to buy tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin, it's going to take you a while doing it anonymously. It can still be done. I bought the majority of my Bitcoin using Coinbase Pro, and then I switched to Strike a few months ago. Bitcoin, buying it anonymously, though, I think is the ultimate way of doing it. It's a very long process. You can see that I have 4 videos here. Again, this is not something that I can put on YouTube for obvious reasons. And so I offer it as part of my Ultimate Guide to Bitcoin course, which is available to subscribers at Trezor University. If you join Trezor University, you get unlimited access to all my trading courses, day trading, trading momentum stocks, trading options and futures, how to make money with IPOs. You get access to all of this in addition to my Ultimate Guide to Bitcoin course, where I really go deep down the rabbit hole, talking about empty block attacks, how the Bitcoin network actually works, what final settlement assurances are, etc. A lot of the theory behind Bitcoin, the real reason that Bitcoin is so volatile. And then the last 4 lectures have been about how to buy Bitcoin anonymously. So if you want to, I think it's difficult to buy a huge amount of Bitcoin anonymously or non-KYC. But once you've followed this process, you become comfortable with buying Bitcoin using Strike or Coinbase and then moving it to a hardware wallet. We'll take a look here and see if our Bitcoin has arrived yet. Hasn't arrived quite yet. Once you get used to doing it this way, that you can take the next step and really go a little further down the rabbit hole and learn how to buy Bitcoin anonymously. So you have some Bitcoin, assuming it's legal in your area, so you have some Bitcoin that no one can ever know that you have, assuming you follow best privacy practices. So if this is something that interests you, you can click on the link in the description notes below. It'll take you to the Bitcoin course page. You can check that out. You can click the second link. It'll take you to the join page. You can click on any of these courses to see what the lectures involve. And then if this is something that interests you and you'd like to try it out, you can scroll all the way to the bottom down here, click Get It Now. That'll take you to the checkout page. Normally access to the Bitcoin course, as well as all my other courses, my list of momentum stocks, my list of favorite my list of favorite long-term investments. All of this, you can get access to all of this for just $125 per 30 days. But I want to give you a special coupon code because you've watched this video all the way to the end. Click right here where it says have a coupon code. Type in YT as in YouTube 99. Click update. That will take $26 off the price. So you'll get access to everything for just $99. That includes the Bitcoin course, including how to buy Bitcoin anonymously, all my other courses, my list of momentum stocks, and my list of favorite long-term investments where you can buy them. You can basically set and forget them. So that's Trezor University. I'd encourage you to first watch all of my free videos on YouTube. You can also check out my books on Amazon, just under Matthew Cratter, Trezor University. Those are really cheap. They're all $2.99 on Kindle. And once you've exhausted these free to really low-cost sources and you want more and more and more, you can check out my paid courses online. But for now, buying Bitcoin using Strike, moving it on to a hardware wallet will really be you'll be miles ahead of most people. It looks like, unfortunately, the Bitcoin hasn't arrived yet. Sometimes there can be delays sending out of Strike. But in a few minutes from now, I will see the Bitcoin here on the hardware wallet, and it will be stored here. If I have made a recovery seed backup, a hardware wallet backup, as we talked about, then I can sleep well at night. I just basically hide those 12 or 24 words. And if my Trezor hardware wallet's ever lost or destroyed, I can reconstitute my holdings on a new Trezor wallet or really on any other wallet. Most hardware wallets are compliant with, I forget which BIP this is, but they're compliant with this recovery seed method. So I could buy a Ledger, I could buy a Blockstream Jade, and I could reconstitute my private key and my holdings of Bitcoin in case this hardware wallet is destroyed in a fire or a flood or something like that. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.